I worked in Malawi for about 8 years doing research as a gastroenterology trainee. Following that, I came back to Liverpool and came across the Mersey School of Endoscopy and was really struck by all that it had to offer. So around, I think it was 2008, I invited Tony Morris, who's the director of the Mersey School at that time, to come out to Malawi and have a look and see if he thought we could do some training.
My first impression was undoubtedly how lucky I was to work in Liverpool. Not that it wasn't a nice environment, that the consultants and the medical staff were very welcoming, but the equipment standard was ages behind us.
When we first started, the disinfectant procedures were very poor, and that was one of the early things we had to do, was to sort out the scope disinfection. And also the logistics and the way the room was set up as well was very poor, and I think some of the early interventions we made were getting the room set up properly.
One of the really important things that struck me during these visits that we did with Tony Morris and then with Paul O'Toole was that both of them were absolutely adamant that they wanted to train in a way that was going to be sustainable, that they didn't want to just train trainees into a black hole.
The starting point, I think, for the project was just to see whether or not we could do the sort of training that we do in the UK in the African setting. So the first efforts we made were to do the basic skills in upper GI endoscopy. Now, if you come in the UK to do that course, we assume that you're going to go back to your base hospital and you're going to have some proper training over the next 6 months or so. And we realised quite quickly that it was no good to go out there and do a brief sort of 3 or 4 day course and then leave these poor trainees without any proper supervision.
I started training to be an endoscopist because basically we want our service to be running all the time, and we've had visiting endoscopists, but then once they go away, then we've had a gap in the service. So we felt that one of us had to train to be an endoscopist, so we have continuous service.
So there have been 2 really key people in our partnership in Malawi. One is Rose Malamba, who's the senior nurse there, and the other is Ansted Kankwatira, who's a clinical officer in Malawi, who has been our most promising trainee.
Since I was trained as a trainer, I've joined the trainers list, and I've taught some courses here in Malawi, a few courses by now. It was interesting to have others who didn't know anything about endoscopy and to take them step by step using the models that we have. By and by, I could see them gaining the skills out of my hands, which was, again, very interesting to say, oh, I can do this.
Ansted has mostly been my trainer, and he's quite experienced and he's quite patient and is prepared to take time to let me at least do the process, and if I'm having difficulties, he's been there to actually support me.
It has helped us a lot, because now the way we are assisting the doctors and the procedures we are doing here is international standard.
Over the last 4 years, we've made 5 training visits out to Malawi, and we've also hosted 3 visits of Malawian individuals back to Liverpool, but we've increasingly done more and more of the training on site in Malawi. We've now run 14 courses and had 52 delegate training episodes, many of which have been people coming back and progressing through from one course to the next, which has been fantastic.
KCH Endoscopy team, thank you!